all good as hell. Watch it.
Well, now after that, I guess I have no choice. But real quick, shout out to Tizzy. I probably should have wrote it down, and I didn't. So we'll just kind of see how this goes. But Just Be has been amazing in what he's been doing for me, and how he's supportive he's been. That with somebody like that, you can't help but rock with him because no matter what, it's gonna happen and it's gonna land proper every time. So I have mad respect for you. Nothing but mad respect.
Let's go.
Shout out to, thank you Art for the opportunity to be here. This is amazing. I really feel honored. And of course I gotta go back to Promise because everybody here that I know, including the few women that I met tonight, it's either through a first or second degree of separation through Promise. So if you don't believe in, this is why you should believe in network and community. Shout out to Promise and Business Besties. Shout out to Merch Pro. I'm telling you, when she said she can sell stuff on a t-shirt, baby, that's what we do. We advertise, it's who we are.
I know that's right.
That's right. So I'm Erin, founder and creator of A Black Woman's Wisdom and the Black Wisdom Directory. Black Wisdom Directory will be coming out in October, and it's a directory specifically for black businesses here in the U.S. Why? 2022, there's an estimated 3.7 million black businesses in the U.S. I say estimated because we're not all registered. It's the country, right? But where are we at? We're not easy to find, and we know that. So my goal is to become that old school yellow pages for black businesses today, because in that is a community that produces this, that produces support, networking, and all things that we didn't even imagine because we're able to support one another. So keep a lookout for that coming out in October. I'm really excited about it. I have a podcast, The Black Woman's Wisdom, and in it embodies the creativity, the wisdom, the grace, and the relentlessness that is inherent in a black woman's experience. A place where we don't have to compromise on our mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being, where we're free to be us at our greatest and our mightiest, and also when we're vulnerable in the midst of healing, right? Because if there's anything we know as women, if we have an experience and go to share it too often, that experience is dismissed. We're told it didn't go down that way. It didn't even happen at all. Or we're being extra, we're emotional. Do we need a nap, or am I wrong? And what happens is when you're constantly bombarded by this, you start to question yourself, your purpose, and you start asking yourself, did it really go down that way? Am I tripping? Am I the drama? Maybe sometimes, but most of the time, nah, everybody, it was the way that it was. So my message for women in my community is to say that you are exactly who you are. You experienced exactly what you experienced. You feel how you feel, and that is okay. That's how it's supposed to be. Because it's not until we can acknowledge that and validate that that we can begin to heal. And then when we heal, that's when we bloom and we blossom. But as women, we don't just bloom and blossom out. We set roots. So that we have clean, healing roots that we've set. And I promise you, once that happens, we're not being moved by any external force, right? It's not about to happen. So that's what we do. I want to share something with you that I learned. Number one cookie. Anybody knows what the number one cookie in the world? What are options? Chips Ahoy chocolate. The number one cookie is chocolate chip cookie, right? But the number one brand is Oreo. Not a chocolate chip to be found, right?
Yeah.
I took two things from this. First is that being number one is subjective. And you gotta understand when it's important to be number one according to Google, and when it's important, when you need to be number one in the room when someone is asking, what is the number one of X, Y, Z, and what you do, and they say your name with the passion that he said Oreo cookies. Because that's what matters in that moment, right? And the second thing that it brought to my attention is that number one has categories. If the number one cookie is a chocolate chip and the number one brand is an Oreo, you know how many other categories there are out there to be number one? People will tell you any field or industry is oversaturated. Podcasting is oversaturated, they will tell you. Which one? You've got female podcaster, male podcaster, black podcaster, black female podcaster, black male podcaster. I mean, so you gotta ask yourself, what category are you in? Are you in the right categories? You fight yourself your way up the ladder, or should you be creating a new one? But you don't know that until you know who you are and being authentic in every day, all the time, in every way, right? And what I learned is if you sit here, we can have a conversation about the best cookie all day long, the best liquor, the best tequila, the best whiskey. We can sit here and talk about that all night. You know what will never come up? The imitations and the off-brands. Because nobody, those ones, do not enter the conversation when we're talking about number one. So we should not be imitating anyone else. When you're holding up your business as a mirror, if it's not reflecting you, but anything and everyone that you follow on social media and you admire, it's time to do a check and make it right. Because number one, if you're not being yourself, and you're being an imitation, you are not going to shine. You're just not. And the people who tell you you can't shine, I think they're cowards. And I'm gonna tell you why. They tell me I can't shine, baby. That's cool. You can tell me what you want. I'm gonna hand you some shades and I'm gonna continue to do what I do. Right? Because one thing I've learned, if I hand them shades and I come here and do what I do, you know what those people do?
Exactly.
As soon as your package turns, they want to see how you are so confident in being different. How do you have the audacity to do that? They want to understand who you are and what you have. And in order to do that, you have to be authentic first. Because Oreo did not become Oreo by trying to be a chocolate chip cookie. It simply did that. And if my vodka ever tasted like rum, we're going to have a problem. I'm going after what I'm going after because that's what I need. And for every podcast that is out there, that is great, do you, but I promise you're not me. Because I bring me into everything that I do. So my message is to please be authentic in who you are every day in every way. Look out for my podcast, A Black Woman's Wisdom. Keep looking out for my directory. Remember, Black Woman's Wisdom, ignore it at your own risk, you guys. Thank you very much.